I need you to hear something before we begin. Not as an introduction, not as a disclaimer, as something I genuinely felt the moment I tuned into your energy today, something that stopped me mid breath and made me set everything else aside. Someone is about to tell you the truth, not a partial truth, not a carefully edited version of how they feel designed to protect themselves while giving you just enough to stay interested. The real truth, the whole of it, the thing they have been carrying around in their chest like something fragile and enormous at the same time, the thing they rehearsed in the mirror, the thing they started typing and deleted, the thing that sits at the back of every single conversation they've had with you and never quite makes it to the surface. It's making it to the surface. And I don't think they planned for it to happen this way. I don't think they woke up and decided today is the day. I think something inside them has simply reached a point where the weight of not saying it has become heavier than the fear of saying it. And when a human being reaches that threshold, when the cost of silence finally exceeds the cost of vulnerability, something breaks open. Something is breaking open. Let me stay here for a moment because I want you to really feel the significance of what I just said. This is not someone casually expressing interest. This is not a flirty message or a surface level compliment designed to test the waters without real risk. What's building for you right now, what's been building for longer than you probably know, is a confession, an actual heart in hand, I can't pretend anymore confession. And Virgo, you need to be ready to receive it because here's what I keep sensing, and I want to be honest with you about this, even if it's a little uncomfortable to hear. There is a version of you that might deflect this when it comes, that might intellectualize it, that might smile and say something gracious, but keep a certain careful distance because allowing it to fully land means allowing yourself to be seen wanting it. And you have protected yourself from that particular vulnerability for a reason. You've been protecting yourself from it for a while. But this time, this person, this moment, I think deserves your full presence. I think this one is real. M. Let me go deeper into who this person is energetically, because I want this to feel specific, not generic. And I want you to feel in your body whether or not this resonates as you listen. What I keep sensing is someone who has known you long enough to know better, someone who understands, at least partly, what kind of person you are. They've watched you, paid attention in the particular way that people do when they're trying not to let on how much they're paying attention. They've noticed things about you that you didn't realize anyone noticed. The way you think through problems, the way you show up for the people you care about, the very specific way you laugh when something genuinely catches you off guard, the real laugh, not the polite one, the way you go quiet when something matters to you instead of louder. They've been cataloging you privately, carefully, in the way that only someone with deep, inconvenient feelings catalogs another person. And what they've built up, this collection of observations, of moments, of things about you that they find extraordinary in ways they haven't been able to articulate to anyone, including themselves, it has reached a kind of critical mass. It has gotten so heavy and so full and so undeniable that it needs somewhere to go. It needs to go to you. What continues to come through so strongly is this energy of someone who tried to manage what they feel for you, who told themselves it was manageable, who maybe even tried to redirect those feelings, tried to invest them somewhere else, tried to convince themselves that what they feel is just admiration, just friendship, just the natural warmth you feel for someone you respect. They know it isn't that. They have known for a while. And the trying to convince themselves otherwise, that effort, that ongoing internal negotiation, it has been exhausting them in a way that's starting to show in the slight shift in how they communicate with you, in the moments where they hold your gaze a beat too long and then look away too deliberately, in the way they find reasons to be in your space without quite being able to explain why they keep gravitating there, in the way their energy changes. The moment you enter a room, something softens, something sharpens, something in them reorganizes itself around your presence. You've noticed some of this, haven't you? You noticed and then you talked yourself out of what you noticed. Very Virgo of you, very perfectly, characteristically Virgo. The energy strongly suggests that this person has recently had an experience, a moment, a conversation, an encounter that brought something sharply into focus for them. Something that made the feelings impossible to continue treating as background noise. It might have been seeing you in a particular way that undid something in them. It might have been a conversation with someone else that made them suddenly terrifyingly aware of how much you matter to them. It might have been a moment of imagining you not being available, imagining you choosing someone else, moving on, building something with a person who isn't them, and feeling that imagined scenario in their body like something genuinely unbearable. That feeling, that unbearable quality of imagining your absence was the tipping point. And now everything in them is moving toward the moment of telling you. I keep sensing a very specific internal experience this person is having right now, a kind of restlessness and inability to fully concentrate on other things, a constant low level awareness of where things stand between you, and an equally constant awareness that where things stand is not where they want them to stand. They are living in the gap between what is and what they want, and that gap has become intolerable. Let me stay here because I want to say something about the nature of what they're about to confess. Because I think the word confession carries different weight for different people, and I want to be specific about the energy I'm feeling. This isn't just, I like you, this is bigger than that. What I'm sensing is someone who is about to reveal the depth of what they feel. And the depth is something they themselves have been somewhat surprised by. Like they didn't fully anticipate feeling this much. Like you got further into them than they planned, and now there's no clean way to get you back out, and they're not sure they want to try anymore. What's coming is something closer to, I have been feeling this for longer than I've admitted. Something closer to, I don't want to pretend anymore that this is something smaller than it is. Something closer to, I need you to know because not knowing feels like it's starting to cost me something I'm not willing to pay. That is what is building. That is what cannot be held in anymore. There is a powerful feeling that when this confession comes and the energy around the timing feels genuinely imminent, like the pressure has been building to a point where very little is needed to release it. It is going to reframe things for you, not just your understanding of this person, but your understanding of a period of time, a stretch of interactions and moments and conversations that you experienced one way, that you interpreted through a certain lens, that you perhaps walked away from wondering if you were imagining the charge between you. You were not imagining it. What you felt in those moments was real. the energy that passed between you in the spaces between words real. The quality of attention they gave you that felt different from how they attended to other people real. The specific way certain conversations with them left you feeling both seen and somehow unsatisfied, like you'd gotten close to something important but not quite touched it real. The something important is this: the feelings they are about to tell you about. That's what was underneath all of it. I want to talk about you for a moment, Virgo, because I think this reading is incomplete without it. I keep sensing that your feelings in this situation are not simple, and I want to honor that rather than gloss over it, because I think the complexity of what you feel is actually part of what makes this so significant. You care about this person on some level that you may or may not have fully admitted to yourself you care. Maybe you've been protecting that caring behind practicality, behind the very reasonable observation that nothing has been said, nothing has been established, nothing concrete exists that would justify investing emotionally. Very Virgo, very protective, very understandable given everything you've been through. But under the protection, under the analysis, and the reasonable caution, there is something warmer, something that responds to this person's name in a way that other names don't quite provoke. Something that has been paying quiet attention right back at them, noticing right back, feeling right back. That something deserves to be acknowledged, even just privately, even just to yourself before this conversation happens. Because when they confess, when the words finally come, you are going to want to respond from that real place rather than from the protected place. And responding from the real place requires knowing that the real place exists. It exists, Virgo. The energy strongly suggests that this confession opens a door that changes the entire dynamic of what exists between you, not complicates it, clarifies it. Because here's the thing about unspoken feelings that sit between two people: they don't actually keep things simple. They create a kind of ambient tension that makes every interaction slightly harder to read, slightly more loaded, slightly more exhausting than it needs to be. The pretending that nothing is there takes energy from both sides. It's like trying to have a normal conversation in a room where something is loudly playing in the background and neither of you is acknowledging the noise. The noise is about to be acknowledged. And what happens when it's acknowledged, what happens when the thing that has been taking up invisible space finally gets spoken into the air between you, is that there is suddenly room for something real. Room for a conversation that is actually about what it's about, rather than carefully skirting around what it's about. Room for you to respond honestly. Room for something to genuinely begin. I keep sensing new beginning energy around you so strongly right now. Not the nervous, tentative kind, the kind that feels like finally, the kind that feels like arriving somewhere you've been moving toward without fully realizing you are in motion. Let me speak to the Virgos who are feeling some fear about this, because I know not all of you are purely excited by what I'm describing. Some of you feel the anticipation, and underneath it, there's a flutter of something more uncertain. Something that sounds like, what if I'm not ready? What if receiving this change is something I'm not sure I want changed? What if opening this door means I can't close it again? Those fears are valid and they deserve to be respected. You are not obligated to receive this confession and immediately know exactly how you feel and exactly what you want. Human emotions are not that clean, and I would never suggest otherwise. What I will say is this: you don't have to have all the answers the moment it happens. You don't have to respond perfectly or completely or with total certainty. What you do have to do, what I think will matter most in this moment, is be honest. Not necessarily with your full conclusion, because maybe you don't have one yet, but honest about where you are, honest about what you feel in that moment, even if what you feel is complicated, honest in a way that honors both of you, their courage in telling you and your own genuine experience of receiving it. Honesty in that moment will be enough, more than enough. The energy this week for Virgo in love has a quality I find genuinely beautiful, and I don't say that performatively. There is a tenderness to it, a vulnerability on both sides of a connection that is quietly but unmistakably significant. Two people who have been orbiting something real without quite landing in it. And now gravity is doing what gravity does. It is pulling things together. It would not surprise me at all if the conversation that begins with this confession becomes one of the most honest conversations you've had with another person in a long time. One of those rare exchanges where the social performance drops entirely and two people just speak plainly to each other about something that actually matters. Those conversations are rare, they are precious, and they have a way of creating a kind of intimacy that years of surface level interaction never quite achieves. You are close to one of those conversations. I also keep sensing something about physical proximity in connection with this. Like the confession doesn't happen in a completely remote way, there is a quality of nearness to it. Whether it's in person or whether it's a voice call where you can hear everything in how they say the words, not just what the words say, there is something about this communication that will feel close, present, like this person is right there with you in the moment they finally say it. Pay attention to how your body responds in that moment. Before your mind gets involved, before you start processing and analyzing and contextualizing, in the very first second when you hear or read or receive what they're saying, notice what happens in your chest. Notice what your body does. Your body will know what it means to you before your mind has organized an opinion. Trust that everything points toward a genuine love story beginning to write itself for Virgo. Not the complicated push and pull, hot and cold kind that leaves you perpetually unsettled and wondering where you stand. The real kind. The kind built on actual mutual feeling, actual mutual recognition, actual willingness on both sides to stop pretending and start being present with each other. The real kind is rare, and it tends to arrive not on the timeline we planned, but on the timeline that makes sense in retrospect when we look back and realize that everything that happened before, all the waiting and the almost moments and the unspoken things, it was all moving toward this. All of it was moving toward this. There is a powerful feeling that this person, the one who is about to confess, the one who cannot hold it in anymore, is someone your life is genuinely better with in it, not in a dependent way, not in a way that requires you to lose yourself or compromise what you know you need, but in the way that certain people genuinely add something to the texture of your life that wasn't there before. In the way that certain connections make you feel more like yourself rather than less. I keep sensing that this person sees you, the real you, not the curated version, not the capable and competent and always has it together version that you show the world by default. The actual you, the one that exists underneath the composure, the one that has fears and softnesses and a depth of feeling that you rarely let anyone get close enough to witness. They've witnessed it, maybe in moments you didn't realize you were letting it show, and what they've witnessed is exactly what they're falling toward. Let yourself be fallen toward, Virgo. I know that's easier to say than to do. I know that the history of your heart has made certain kinds of openness feel dangerous. I know that you have been hurt by allowing people access to the real you and having that access treated carelessly. I know that your caution comes from somewhere real and earned and genuinely protective. But this energy, this specific incoming, can't hold it in any more energy. It does not feel careless. It feels careful. It feels like someone who has held what they feel for you with a certain reverence, who has not rushed it or forced it or performed it, who has simply felt it genuinely and privately until the feeling became too large for private. That is the kind of feeling worth receiving. Let yourself receive it. Let yourself sit in the moment when it comes and feel whatever you feel without immediately deciding what to do with it. Let yourself be moved if it moves you. Let yourself be surprised if it surprises you. Let yourself be seen in the moment of being told that you are wanted, really wanted specifically by someone who knows enough about you to want you specifically. That is a gift. Let it arrive as one. And I want to close with something gentle because I think you need gentle right now more than you need dramatic. Virgo, you deserve love that isn't a puzzle. You deserve love that moves toward you with intention and honesty and the kind of courage that says, I would rather you know than spend another day with this unsaid between us. You deserve someone who looks at what you are, all of it, the precise and the sensitive and the particular and the deep, and chooses it actively, consciously, out loud. That love is not too much to ask for. That love is what's coming. Be ready, be open, be here when it arrives. And when it does, when they say the thing, when the confession finally comes, I want you to come back here and tell me about it. Even just a few words in the comments, even just Virgo, it happened. Because this community holds your story with care, and your joy is genuinely celebrated here. If this reading found you at the right moment, if something in what I said made you feel less alone in what you've been quietly carrying, subscribe and come back. Every week I am here for you. For the love readings and the hard ones and everything in between. Go be loved, Virgo. You have always been worth it.